Welcome to mission number 1 of the new solo and co-op Brutality Skirmish War Game campaign. As described in our introduction video, this is going to be Roxx and crew trying to find their lost compatriots that have been kidnapped by some sort of cannibal or slaving tribe. They're not entirely sure, but they kind of know what the people look like, so they're on their way following the path of destruction. Now, as the people left, they also completely looted the base and everything like that from the Beast Kingdoms. So, you'll see that there's objective markers here, and there's one there, and there's one over there, and there's one there. So there are 4 objective markers completely on here, and they have already scattered. So they are just following the trail of discarded objects that this warband has left. Now, it's also possible that some of our friends that have been captured are leaving a trail for us to follow as well. Unfortunately, this brings us through the Spite Grove, and they know not to go in this part of the Twisted Woods anyway, but they have no choice. They have to follow these boxes and follow the trail to find their friends. So it doesn't take very long for them to be going through the Spite Grove when all of a sudden a powerful tree lord appears. And the first thing he says is, you know, get out of my Spite Grove, and, you know, flesh beings are not allowed in here or whatever, because all they ever do is destroy everything. And, of course, Roxx is going to try to say, hey, look, we're not here, we're just passing through, we're not here to destroy anything, we're trying to find people who destroyed our home, and the Tree Lord is going to have none of that. So, the Tree Lord is a monster, and he's also an icon, and this is the Kernel Hunter is a regular ranged person, and this Spite Revenant is a regular ranged person. The whole gist of this Tree Lord in this game is going to be re-rolling saves for his people within 12 inches, and he's going to be trying to spawn Dryads as his summoning. So we'll see how that goes, and see, these are loot tokens as well, so any information we might get from these objectives, might help give us some information about exactly who these people are that attacked us. But in the meantime, everybody's already deployed, and we're going to roll off to see who gets to go first. We will do the green and red dice. The green dice are obviously the tree people. Go ahead and roll. Oh, tree people 10-1. Okay, so the tree people are definitely going first. Well, the tree people figured it was going to be easy pickings, so they decided to activate this Spite Revenant and get this objective. He was barely in base contact with that objective, and he's going to see what is all the fuss about, what exactly has drawn these humanoid people, non-tree people, into their grove. He tries to open this box, and a bunch of tiny insects attack him, and it must have had a hive in it or something. And he ends up scattering random directions 7 inches, and it's pretty funny. It made him run exactly right into Roxx and Sif, so... And, of course, they don't get a victory point. Okay, what a weird direction for this to go. So not only does the Spite Revenant, he's having a rough day. He went over to this objective, and then he got attacked by bees. He runs over here trying to get away from them. I decided I wanted to test out Roxx's new tackle ability, his model trait. Sorry, his model ability. So whenever he charges in a straight horizontal line and takes the shortest distance to an enemy, it's automatically a critical charge, dealing a crushing wound chart roll with no saves. So he slams into the Spite Revenant, knocks him down. So that happens before combat. So now the Spite Revenant is prone, and Roxx is going to be getting +2 to his fight skill because it's automatically rear arc if you are knocked down. So he's hitting on 3s. He hits on 8s. And he hits all 3 times, and he rolls a critical. So that's 4 hits on the Spite Revenant. And the Spite Revenant only saves 1 out of 4. So he is instantly murdered, and that is pretty hilarious. I'm really hoping that Roxx keeps up this real badass showing. The Spite Revenant rolls a natural 10 and 9 for his hits. So he completely whiffed everything. And as this guy fades away, Roxx is like, yeah, you don't mess with me. Man, I just don't understand what sort of chaos sorcery is happening in this game. The tree people cannot catch a break, and I'll explain why. The Tree Lord Ancient moves up in base contact with that objective over there, and he immediately summons a Dryad, which is all well and good. He loses a hit point, obviously, because that's what summoning how summoning works. And then he proceeds to do Curse on Murmak to give him -1 attack. So that's good. So all's going well, right? Well, remember how the first objective we did, the Spite Revenant rolled a 1. Well, the Tree Lord Ancient rolls a 10 for his objective, and we rolled for the random direction of this, and spawned some sort of rock monster. So that's fun. Technically, this is in their favor because there's no one of theirs near here, so it's definitely going to be going after Roxx and Sif first. But it's just kind of funny that they just can't catch a break. So the score is 1-0, and they should have 2 points at this point. But now we've got a giant monster to deal with, so that's a possibility. But anyway, 0-1 in our favor. The next person to activate is good old Steven Seagull. You see what I did there? Steven Seagull? Come on, that's funny. Anyway, Steven, the Seagull Sorcerer, you can tell he took a hit point. He failed his time slip critically and dealt himself a wound, so that was fun. He also tried to curse the Tree Lord, and that failed. But he was able to get an aura on Murmak, and he was able to put a movement blocking barrier 12 inches so that that will provide us a little protection from the rock monster. And then he used the command token, and he was able to actually score from that objective. So that is what he did. He got an experience point, so that's good. And I'm deciding that Steven, being a seagull and all, he uses that demon head, that possessed demon head on a cane, but the actual magic he does is all sea and seagull based magic, and I find that to be funny. So this is water over here that will repel anybody from walking through it. So that's his movement blocking barrier, and I feel like he cast the awareness of a seagull, or maybe 360-degree rotating head, something like that, on Murmak. So he's especially vigilant, and he can do extra damage ahead. Or maybe he gave Murmak a beak, I don't know. The next activation goes to the Dryad that moves over and loots that box, scoring them a victory point. And then I activated Tuska, and I decided, you know what, Tuska is going to try to go after this monster, because you can only hurt him if you roll a critical hit. That's the only way you kill him. And aiming doesn't matter or anything like that, but she is higher elevation, so she can reroll hits. So I fired her 2 weapons at him and missed both times, and then I rerolled it, and look what Tuska got. This is definitely in our favor. So she rolled a natural 10, and she actually kills this monster. And I gotta look it up, but I think it's 3 victory points. It might be 2. But for killing this guy is actually several victory points for her. So that was just a lucky shot. When I say the chaos is high, the chaos is certainly high today. This Kernel Hunter moves just a little bit, wasn't even able to aim, and he shoots 2 shots, just straight up killing poor Steven. Steven got hit with a critical hit and another hit and failed all 3 of them. So that was exciting. They got a victory point. The score is 4-2. Of course, the aura goes off of Murmak immediately, the seagull awareness, and the water goes away immediately because Steven's dead now. But actually that made things a little easier for us. Sif was able to move straight over to this objective, but she was 1 inch short, or rather 3/4 of an inch short, so she had to run to get in base contact with it. And we've already used our command ability, or our command token, so we can't do anything else with her. And finally, it is just old Murmak's turn. Let's see what he can do. Man, if this mission is any indicator, I already love this new warband. They are firing on all cylinders already, and they are kicking ass is what they're doing. So little old Murmak, remember, he's the little guy with the little guy complex, and he's all angry because he's a tiny pink shark and not a big muscular shark. So he's already cursed by the Tree Lord, -1 attack, right? So he's base 2 attacks because he's melee, and now he's base 1 attack +1 for the charge. He moves over here. He needs a 6-inch charge. He makes the 6-inch charge. He goes in here and attacks the Tree Lord. He does 1 unsaved damage to him, bringing him down to a 4, and giving him -2 movement, gave him lacerations. And the Tree Lord only hits him back once with his 2 attacks base. And He hits him once, and Murmak critically saves it. Like, this little shark is no joke. I hope this warband keeps it up, because they are really awesome right now. This is the top of turn 2. The score is 4-2, us. And they start off by activating the Tree Lord Ancient, and he summons yet another Dryad to go do his bidding over there. And then he tries to continue the Disrupt on poor Murmak and fails. And then he chooses to charge Murmak. He does 2 unsaved damage to Murmak and just bludgeons him right in the head. Gives him -4 willpower, poor little guy. And Murmak fights back, but unfortunately Tree Lord saves it. So the Tree Lord is down to 3 hit points now because of all of the summoning. And poor Murmak is still holding his own. At the beginning of this turn, we decided to declare one of our stealth, because stealth is the faction trait we're using. So one of our stealth feats, and Murmak cannot be targeted for charges or shots if the other person is more than 6 inches away. And we did that because of that hunter sitting right there. Murmak's way out in the open, and he's a prime target. So anyway, that is it. So they did not kill Murmak. He's hanging in there. Alright, trying to speed things up along just a little bit. Roxx runs and charges at the Dryad that was there. He kills her instantly with no issue whatsoever. She strikes back and does nothing to him. So she vanishes back into the foliage that she was made of. Then they activate this Dryad, who is too close to actually activate that objective. So she charges Murmak from behind, and unfortunately she murders poor old Murmak. He gave it his best, but they score a victory point. And believe it or not, in retaliation, he does 2 hits to her, and she fails both of those. So she is also dead. But remember, summoned models don't give up victory points. So we've cleared the board of 2 enemies, but those are not victory points. Next up, we have an old-fashioned shootout. We've got Tuska shoots shots into that Kernel Hunter over there, and she's able to do 1 damage on him and -2 fight skill, which is not super effective because he's not really probably going to get into combat. Then he shoots right back at her, deals 1 unsaved damage, and then rolls a critical 10 on the wound chart, dealing her an extra damage. So we start out real strong. I don't know how we're faring now. We'll see. At the end of turn 2, Sif successfully loots this crate and puts the score up to 5-2. At the start of turn 3, they roll off, and they have won every single roll-off. We have lost 2 of our members, and they've lost 2 of their summoned models, so... Oh, actually, you know what? Plus the Spite Revenant. So actually, they should have won anyway, but they did win the roll-off anyway. So, the Tree Lord immediately uses a feat to heal himself, and remember, you can't heal the wounds taken from summoning, but you can heal wounds otherwise. So, one of their regeneration feats is to heal, and Murmak did take a wound off of him. So, he is now back up to 3. I should say actually he was up to 4, and then he loses a hit point to summon that new Dryad, and then he successfully wins double curse. So he's giving -4 fight skill on poor Roxx. So what I think it is that vines are coming out of the ground, and they're tying him up so much. He's like a big ball of tumbleweed right now, where it's just so much plant materials on him he can barely even swing his fist or his club. Our next activation is Tuska. She's going to use our stealthy feat to add 6 inches to her movement. She's able to hop down here, and that was about her full 6-inch movement. Then she passed her dex check, so she didn't take any damage. Then she moved like another 6 inches, and then she needed 3 inches to run, and she rolled a 4. So then she moved over right there. So she is just, I measured it, she is just outside of 6 inches from the Tree Lord. So she was able to pray, and she got a loot, and she was able to get a victory point. I weighed my options. I really would have preferred, because she was in higher elevation, to shoot this Dryad. But the Dryad is actually in the 12-inch rerollable save area for the Tree Lord. So, and I don't really like that, personally. I don't like the odds of that. And trying to kill that Kernel Hunter from over here, he's still got 2 hit points and rerollable saves. I didn't like those options either. So, the best thing was to run her over and get points. That puts us 6-2. We're actually winning pretty strongly, but you know how that can swing in the brutality. Our next activation is the Kernel Hunter, who moves over and activates that objective for a victory point. It's now 6-3. Then he takes some just random pot shots at Tuska. He could barely see her, and she was getting full cover, and we're stealthy, so we re-roll some of that if we're in cover. But it was to no avail. She did not die, but the score is 6-3 them. The next activation is Roxx. He goes to charge the Dryad, and he rolls a natural 1, which is a critical fail on the charge, and he just sits there like an idiot. So the Dryad, being that she can't loot that barrel anyway, she decides to attack Roxx. She charges him and manages to do a unsaved wound on him, and he was, believe it or not, able to do nothing back to her with the -4 fight skill that's on him right now. So she made up pretty good, actually, being that she's a minion. And of course the last activation is our buddy Sif right here. She activates the objective and scores us our 7th victory point. It's 7-3. I think the enemies now know that they're going to lose, and they're going to go all out on us just trying to kill us. Because Tuska's down to 1 and Roxx is down to 2. Sif is the only one that's not bothered, and it would be pretty easy for the Tree Lord to just summon something over here for her. So let's see what they do in the final turn, turn 4. The Tree Lord Ancient activates first. He moves just the ½ inch or whatever he was from the objective, and as a free action, as his command token, he's going to loot it, bringing the score 7-4. Then he's managing to get 1 curse on Roxx, -2 fight skill instead of the critical that he got before. And then he summons a Dryad over here, who is just in range of both of them to hopefully mess up their objective capping. Do you ever feel like you're just having one of those days? Yeah, well, Sif sure feels that way. So if Sif is here, or even on this half, she's within 6 inches in line of sight of that Dryad, but actually, if she's on the other side of the objective, she's not. So she goes over there, and she loots the objective, and guess what? She rolls a 10, and that is going to bring about this this monster again. Believe it or not, the monster comes out again on the same table edge. So she's in some serious crap now, I gotta tell you. You know, it might actually be worth it to run her, and hopefully, you know, that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna use my free action this turn. I'm gonna run her. Her movement's 8, 5. Hopefully I can get her farther away from him than the... Man, I don't know. It's going to be tight. Hopefully I can get her farther away from him than the Dryad is, and he'll just attack the Dryad. Next, the tree people activate the Dryad, getting her away from this monster, and hopefully he'll be closer to Sif now. They charge Tuska in behind, and unfortunately they kill Tuska. Tuska's not able to do anything back to them. So that actually brings the score 5-7. I was thinking this was going to be a total blowout mission, but I don't know now. We only have 2 people left on the board. Well, this is not good. Remember last turn when we rolled a natural 1 for Roxx to charge? Yeah, that's another one. He just... Oh man, the goal was for Roxx to be able to charge around the Dryad and get out of line of sight of that Kernel Hunter, is what he was hoping to do. Unfortunately, he completely failed that, and that is his activation. We don't even have a free action because we stupidly used it on Sif here, who is probably always going to be charged anyway. I didn't pre-measure. Now the tree people's goal is to just kill Roxx because he's the leader. The Dryad actually charged him and did an unsaved damage. She actually did 2 damage, and he was able to save 1 of them with his 1-3 save. So that was lucky, and he's not dead. He did nothing back to her, unfortunately. I mean, he hit her, but she saved it. So I feel like this is the very end of the game. Actually, the last activation of the entire game is this Kernel Hunter here. So I figured I would move him and then actually roll the actual attacks. So he's got a pretty darn clear line of sight. Roxx is definitely going to be getting +1 save, but that's about all he gets. So, being stealthy, he can reroll saves of 8 through 10. I just looked it up. In case, if he is getting the bonus to cover. So let's see. The old Roxx here is Dex 5, and he's in rear arc. So that's going to be a 4 or higher the Kernel Hunter needs. 4 or higher. Oh my gosh, right under the tree. What is this? Got a hit with an 8, and another 8. Got 2 hits with the 8s. Alright now, Mr. Roxx. His save is a 1 through 3. He's getting +1, so it's 1 through 4, and he can reroll 8s through 10s. Please, Mr. Roxx, save this. Because actually, if they get this, they're going to tie the game, believe it or not. So, 1 through 4, rerolling 8 through 10s. Look at that. Oh, nope. Well, I thought that was 2 2s at first. So, poor old Roxx is dead. And that actually ties up the score 7-7. And you know what? We have one last thing to do. At the end of each turn, let me put Roxx away. At the end of each turn, this guy moves D10 inches. Please be a 1. Alright. Towards the closest enemy, and I'm willing to bet that, yeah, he's 8.5 inches from the Dryad, and he's less than that. He's 5 3/4 from poor Sif. So he moves his 10 inches here, and now he's automatically going to charge. Please roll a 1. Nope. He charges into Sif. Alright. He gets 3 attacks on the charge. Fight skill 7. Oh gosh. What? 3 10s. Oh my gosh. That is almost unbelievable. Sif fights back, and I swear to you, right now, I'm gonna set something on fire if she rolls a natural 1 and kills him. What? What? Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to set something on fire, I guess. She actually kills him. That is the most badass thing I think I've ever seen. Sif, I'm telling you right now, you definitely deserve a promotion, Sif, because you took down this giant thing all by yourself in the last turn. I am beside myself, and you saw it happen. If I had not rolled 3 10s over here for his hits and 1 1 for her hit, you never would have believed me. You would have said, old Scott, he's just fudging that. Nope. This is the game of brutality, folks. And that that actually puts us 9-7. So, believe it or not, in the last seconds of this game, a critical failure that she caused actually caused them to win, and she's getting a boatload of experience. This was, I gotta tell you, this was a fantastic first mission for this warband. I am very excited to be with them, and thank you so much for watching. So this is their first mission, and they were successful. They won 9-7 because of a clutch last activation for the big monster there. And Roxx got 2 experience for 1 for killing that Spite Revenant and 1 for being on the winning side. So he got Execution on a 7-up, and that was his passive trait I chose. So if he kills someone, he gets an extra experience at the end of the game. I rolled a 3 for that, so he failed. Sif actually got a stat bonus, which is plus 2 more for her movement, so that's 10. And she's inspiring on a 5-up to remove insanity. On an 8-up, she got a 5. Steven just got a passive ability. It was haggling, so on an 8-up, he can get better deals. Tuska got connections, and she also got plus 2 to her movement. And she actually got her roll for connections, but we don't have any gold right now. So, and finally, Mermac got 1 experience, poor little guy. And I forget what he did, but just for being on the winning side, he got 1 experience. I'm sure he's mad about that, no doubt. So, something that I did not bother with in the previous campaign, but I'm going to do it now, is the whole blessings and favor points and all that. So this was a looting mission, and since we won that, we got to roll on the main rulebook item chart. And we rolled a 15, which is a binaural lens. It's worth 7 gold, and it adds 4 inches to my range shots. So naturally, I gave that to the ranged person, Tuska. There you are, Tuska. And so now her shots are 24-inch range, which is pretty sweet, actually. And because she's got point blank, that actually adds 2 more inches to her point blank ability. Because she gets +1 to hit at half range, so she will be getting +1 to hit at 12 inches rather than 10, which is pretty awesome. So that is the very first mission, and thank you so much for watching it. I had a great deal of fun, and I'm glad that I actually caught that on camera, the crazy rolls at the end, because I feel like you guys would have to suspend some disbelief if you had not seen it. So no one leveled up, hopefully next time, and they will get a little closer to finding one of their buddies.